Mia was known in her small town as the mechanic girl. She worked in a quiet repair shop near an old road where few cars passed each day. The shop was not fancy. The walls were old, the tools were used, and the floor was always covered with oil marks. Still, Mia loved this place. It was where she felt strong and useful. She had learned everything on her own. No one had taught her how engines worked. She watched, listened, tried, failed, and tried again. Many people doubted her because she was young and because she was a girl. Some even laughed when they saw her holding heavy tools. Mia never argued. She believed actions spoke louder than words. Money was always a problem. The repair shop paid just enough for food and rent. There was never extra. Every night, Mia counted her savings carefully. She dreamed of something better, but dreams felt far away when bills waited on the table. One evening, after a long day of work, Mia walked past a storage yard on her way home. Behind a broken fence, she noticed something large and forgotten. It was an old RV. The paint was faded, the metal was covered in rust, and the tires looked tired. Most people would see it as junk. Mia stopped walking. She stepped closer and looked through the dirty window. Inside, she saw dust, torn seats, and broken cabinets. The engine had not run in years. Still, her heart beat faster. She did not see trash. She saw a challenge. She imagined fixing it, cleaning it, and making it move again. The owner of the yard noticed her standing there and walked over. He was an impatient man who wanted space cleared. He told Mia the RV had no value. He said if she wanted it, she could take it for a very small price. Mia went home that night unable to sleep. She kept thinking about the RV. She counted her money again and again. If she bought it, she would have nothing left. No safety. No backup. But if she walked away, she knew she would regret it forever. The next morning, she returned to the yard with her savings in her pocket. Her hands shook as she handed over the money. It was every dollar she had. The owner laughed and wished her luck, clearly believing she had made a foolish choice. Mia climbed into the driver's seat. The steering wheel was worn and cold. She turned the key, and the engine made a weak sound before stopping. Her heart dropped for a moment. Then she took a deep breath. She reminded herself that broken things could be fixed. With patience and effort, she managed to start the engine just enough to move the RV slowly. Smoke rose, and the sound was rough, but it moved. That was enough for her. People on the street stared as she drove the rusted RV through town. Some pointed. Some shook their heads. A few laughed openly. Mia kept her eyes on the road. She had made her choice, and she would stand by it. She parked the RV beside the repair shop, in a small empty space no one used. That night, she sat inside it alone. The air smelled old, and the silence felt heavy. Doubt tried to enter her mind. What if she failed? What if she had wasted everything? She looked at her hands. They were dirty and tired, but strong. These hands had fixed engines others had given up on. She reminded herself that she had survived worse days. The next morning, she began working. She opened the hood and examined the engine carefully. Some parts were broken. Others were just old. She made a list in her mind. She cleaned what she could and planned to reuse parts from scrap. Days passed, and life became hard. Mia worked at the repair shop during the day and on the RV at night. She slept little. Her body ached, but she did not stop. Rain leaked through the roof, soaking the floor. She placed buckets and kept working. Neighbors watched quietly. They expected her to quit. But each day, the RV changed just a little. Rust was cleaned. Bolts were tightened. The engine began to sound better. Mia did not know it yet, but this decision, made with her last dollar, was the first step toward something bigger. The RV was not just metal and screws. It was a test of belief. And Mia was ready to face it. The days after Mia bought the old RV were some of the hardest she had ever known. Every morning, She woke before the sun. She washed her face, tied her hair back, and walked to the repair shop. The shop owner allowed her to park the RV nearby, but he did not believe it would ever move again. Mia did not argue with him. She focused on her work. During the day, she fixed cars that belonged to other people. Broken brakes, weak engines, and worn belts filled her hours. She smiled at customers and spoke kindly, even when they questioned her skills. By evening, her arms were tired and her back hurt. Still, she did not go home to rest. Instead, she walked to the RV. The RV stood quietly, like it was waiting for her. Its rusted body looked rough under the fading light. Mia opened the door and stepped inside. Dust floated in the air. The smell was old and heavy. She opened the windows to let fresh air in and began working again. She started with cleaning. She removed trash left behind long ago. Old papers, broken tools, and useless items filled bags she carried away. She scrubbed the floor with soap and water until her hands turned red. Slowly, the inside began to look less forgotten. At night, the cold crept in. Mia wore extra clothes and wrapped herself in a blanket when she rested. Sometimes she slept inside the RV. Rain tapped on the roof, and water leaked through small holes. She placed containers under the leaks and promised herself she would fix the roof soon. Money was gone. That thought stayed in her mind like a heavy stone. She had no savings left. Every small need felt big now. She searched through scrapyards for old parts. She asked politely if she could take what others did not want. Some people laughed, but others nodded and allowed her to search. One evening, she found an old battery that still had life in it. It was scratched and dirty, but it worked. When she connected it to the RV lights, one small bulb turned on. It was weak, but it glowed. Mia smiled for the first time in days. That small light gave her strength. The engine was still a problem. It started sometimes and failed other times. Mia listened carefully to every sound. She cleaned fuel lines, changed filters, and adjusted parts with patience. She spoke to the engine softly, as if it could hear her. Each small improvement felt like a victory. People continued to watch her. Some shook their heads. Others whispered that she was wasting her time. One young boy often stopped by to watch her work. He asked questions and handed her tools. Mia answered him kindly. She remembered being curious once too. There were days when nothing worked. One night, the engine refused to start at all. Mia sat on the ground, her hands shaking with tiredness. Tears filled her eyes, but she did not let them fall. She took a deep breath and reminded herself why she started. She wanted freedom. She wanted something of her own. She wanted to prove that effort mattered. The next day, she tried again. She checked everything slowly. She noticed a small loose wire that she had missed before. She fixed it carefully and turned the key. The engine started and stayed on longer than before. The sound was still rough, but it was alive. Mia laughed quietly. That moment felt like hope returning. She began fixing the inside next. She repaired broken cabinets using old wood. She cleaned the seats and stitched small tiers. She painted the walls with leftover paint she found cheap at a local store. The color was light and warm. It made the space feel new. At night, she sat inside the RV and imagined the future. She imagined driving on open roads. She imagined helping people with broken cars far from town. She imagined a life where she was not stuck in one place. Her body grew stronger with each day of work. Her hands moved faster. Her confidence grew. Even when she felt tired, she kept going. She learned to trust herself more than the voices of doubt around her. One afternoon, the shop owner watched her start the RV and move it a few steps forward. His eyes widened. He did not say anything, but his expression changed. For the first time, someone who doubted her began to believe. The RV was still far from perfect. Rust remained. The roof needed repair. The engine needed more care. But it was no longer dead. Mia stood back and looked at it. She saw progress. She saw proof of effort. She saw that her last dollar had not been wasted. She did not know it yet, but the hardest part was shaping her into someone stronger. Each challenge was teaching her patience. Each failure was teaching her skill. The RV was changing, and so was she. As the sun set behind the buildings, Mia wiped her hands and smiled softly. Tomorrow would bring more problems, but it would also bring more chances. She was ready for both. Mia did not notice the man at first. She was bent over the open engine, her hands deep in grease, her mind focused on a strange sound that would not go away. The sun was high, and sweat rolled down her face. When she finally straightened up, she saw him standing a few steps away. He was an older man with gray hair and calm eyes. He wore simple clothes and leaned on a walking stick. He watched the RV like it was an old friend. "You have strong hands," the man said kindly. Mia was surprised but not uncomfortable. She nodded and wiped her hands on a cloth. She did not get many compliments, so she did not know how to respond. The man introduced himself as Leo. He said he used to travel in an RV many years ago. He had fixed it himself and lived on the road for a long time. When he saw Mia working, it reminded him of his younger days. Mia listened carefully. She respected people who learned through effort. Leo asked her what problems she was facing. She explained the engine sound and the weak power. Leo did not touch anything at first. He only listened. After a moment, he pointed to one small part. He suggested a change. Mia tried it carefully. The engine ran smoother than before. She looked at Leo with surprise. From that day on, Leo stopped by often. He never acted like a teacher. He spoke like a helper. Sometimes he brought small parts from his old storage. He refused payment. He said helping was enough. Word spread slowly. People in the area began to notice the RV changing. The rust was less visible. The engine sound was steadier. The inside looked brighter. A woman named Nina, who painted houses nearby, came one afternoon carrying 2 buckets. She said she had leftover paint that would go to waste. The color was soft and warm. Mia thanked her with a smile. Together, they painted the outside walls. The RV began to stand out, not because it was perfect, but because it was alive again. A few young people started stopping by after work. Some watched quietly. Some asked questions. Mia answered when she could. She did not see herself as special. She was just someone who did not give up. Still, doubt had not fully left her. Some nights, she lay awake inside the RV, listening to the wind. She worried about money. She worried about what would happen when the work was done. She had fixed the RV, but what would come next? One evening, after a long day, the engine failed again. It was a hard failure, louder than before. Mia felt frustration rise in her chest. She sat down and closed her eyes. Leo noticed her silence. He told her something simple. He said machines were like people. They needed patience. He reminded her how far she had already come. The next morning, Mia and Leo worked together slowly. They took the engine apart carefully. Piece by piece, they cleaned and fixed what was needed. It took hours. When they finished, Mia turned the key. The engine started smoothly. The sound was strong and steady. Mia felt her chest fill with relief. She laughed, not loudly, but with real joy. That day marked a turning point. Mia drove the RV a short distance on the road near the shop. People stopped to watch. Some clapped. Some smiled. For the first time, Mia felt proud without fear. Nina brought simple curtains for the windows. Leo helped fix the roof leaks. The young boy who often watched brought his friends. The RV became a place where people gathered, even if just to talk. Mia noticed something important. She was no longer alone. One afternoon, a traveler passing through town stopped to look at the RV. He asked questions and listened to Mia's story. He took a short video with his phone. He said people liked stories about effort and hope. Mia did not think much of it. Days later, something unexpected happened. People began messaging the repair shop. They asked about the mechanic girl with the RV. They asked if she could help fix vehicles in small towns. Mia was confused at first. Leo explained that the video had been shared many times. People were inspired by her work. They saw someone who started with nothing and kept going. Mia felt nervous. Attention was new to her. She was used to quiet work, not being seen. But she also felt something else. Opportunity. She sat inside the RV one night and thought deeply. The RV was no longer just a project. It could become a moving workshop. She could help people who had no repair shops nearby. She could travel and earn honestly. The idea scared her, but it also excited her. Leo smiled when she shared her thoughts. Nina hugged her tightly and told her to believe in herself. Even the shop owner nodded in support. Mia stood outside and looked at the RV under the evening sky. The rust was not fully gone. Scratches remained. But it was strong, and so was she. She realized the miracle was not sudden. It was built slowly, through effort, kindness, and belief. And this was only the beginning. The morning Mia decided to leave town, the sky was clear and calm. The RV stood ready near the repair shop, cleaned and prepared. Tools were packed neatly inside. Water and food were stored carefully. Mia checked everything twice. She wanted no mistakes. People gathered quietly to watch her go. The shop owner stood near the door with his arms crossed, pretending not to be emotional. Nina waved with a bright smile. Leo stood closest to the RV. He placed his hand on the side of the vehicle like he was saying goodbye to an old friend. Mia thanked them all. Her voice was steady, but her heart was racing. This was the first time she was leaving with no clear plan, only belief in herself and the road ahead. She started the engine. It responded smoothly. That sound filled her with confidence. Slowly, she drove out of town, passing the places she knew so well. The road stretched forward, wide and open. Her first stop was a small village not far away. A farmer had called her after seeing the shared video. His old truck would not start, and there was no mechanic nearby. Mia parked the RV beside the truck and got to work. She listened to the engine, checked the fuel, and examined the wires. The problem was simple. A loose part had stopped the engine from working. She fixed it quickly. When the truck started, the farmer smiled with relief. He paid her fairly and thanked her again and again. That moment made everything feel real. She was not just traveling. She was helping. As days passed, Mia moved from place to place. Small towns welcomed her. People were curious about the mechanic girl with the RV. She fixed cars, bikes, and small machines. Sometimes she worked under the hot sun. Sometimes in the rain. Each job brought a new story. At night, she parked in safe areas and rested inside the RV. The space felt warm now. The curtains moved gently with the wind. She cooked simple meals and wrote notes about each day. The sound of the road no longer scared her. It comforted her. Not every day was easy. One afternoon, the RV made a strange noise while climbing a hill. Mia stopped and checked carefully. A part had worn out faster than expected. She spent hours fixing it by the side of the road. Her hands hurt, but she did not complain. A family passing by offered her water and food. They stayed until she finished. When the RV started again, they cheered. Mia felt grateful for small kindness. More messages came in each week. People shared her story again and again. Some asked her to visit their towns. Others sent words of support. Mia read every message carefully. She realized her journey was giving hope to people who felt stuck. One evening, she reached a town near the hills. The sun painted the sky with warm colors. Children ran beside the RV, laughing. An old woman invited Mia to park near her home. She offered a warm meal and a place to rest. That night, Mia sat outside the RV and looked at the stars. She thought about her past. She remembered the night she spent her last dollar. The fear, the doubt, the loneliness. All of it felt far away now. She had grown. Not just as a mechanic, but as a person. She trusted herself. She listened carefully. She stayed patient. These lessons were worth more than money. Leo called her one day to check in. His voice was full of pride. Nina sent her photos of new houses she painted. Even the shop owner sent a short message wishing her safety. Mia smiled at the thought of the people who believed in her before anyone else did. In one town, a young girl watched Mia work closely. She asked many questions. Mia answered with care. She showed her how to hold tools and listen to engines. The girl's eyes shined with excitement. Mia saw herself in that girl. The road continued to teach her lessons. Some nights were quiet. Some were loud with laughter. Some days brought success. Others brought challenge. Through it all, Mia stayed focused. The RV carried marks from the road now. Dust. Small scratches. But each mark told a story. Each repair added strength. Just like Mia. One morning, as she drove along a wide open road, she felt something deep inside. This life was not temporary. This was who she was meant to be. She was no longer just a mechanic working in one place. She was a traveler. A helper. A symbol of effort and courage. The road ahead was still long. She did not know where it would lead next. But she knew one thing clearly. She was ready. The road had changed Mia, but it had also brought her back to herself. After many months of travel, she returned to the town where everything had started. The RV rolled in slowly, steady and strong. It no longer looked like a forgotten machine. It looked like a home with purpose. People recognized it right away. Word spread fast. Neighbors came out of their houses. The repair shop owner stepped outside and smiled openly this time. Nina hurried over with paint on her hands. Leo walked carefully, his eyes shining with pride. Mia parked the RV and turned off the engine. She sat quietly for a moment, holding the steering wheel. Memories filled her mind. The fear of spending her last dollar. The cold nights. The doubt. All of it had led her here. She stepped out, and people clapped. Mia felt shy but grateful. She thanked them with a simple wave. That evening, the town gathered near the repair shop. Mia shared her journey in calm words. She spoke about the towns she visited and the people she helped. She spoke about mistakes and lessons. She did not talk about fame. She talked about effort. People listened closely. Some were moved. Others felt inspired. A few saw their own struggles reflected in her story. The next day, something unexpected happened. The town leaders invited Mia to a small meeting. They had an idea. Many nearby villages had no repair services. Travel was hard for them. They asked if Mia would consider turning her RV work into something bigger. Mia listened carefully. She did not rush her answer. She knew how serious such a step could be. After a long thought, she agreed to try. With support from the town, Mia turned the RV into a mobile repair unit that followed a simple schedule. She traveled to nearby areas each week. People knew when she would arrive. They trusted her work. The RV became known not just for repairs, but for honesty and care. Mia trained others too. Young people who wanted to learn followed her for short trips. She taught them patiently. She showed them that skills were built through practice, not luck. The young girl she met on the road visited often. Mia let her help with simple tasks. The girl learned quickly. Mia saw a future mechanic growing. Leo helped organize tools and records. Nina painted a small sign for the RV with warm colors. The shop owner helped manage calls and messages. Everyone played a part. Mia realized the miracle was not a single moment. It was the result of many small choices. Each time she chose effort over fear. Each time she chose patience over anger. One quiet evening, Mia sat inside the RV after a long day. The engine was silent. The lights glowed softly. She thought about how far she had come. She remembered the rusted RV in the storage yard. She remembered the laughter of people who doubted her. None of that mattered now. What mattered was that she believed in something broken and gave it time to heal. The RV was no longer just metal and wheels. It was a symbol of second chances. People from far towns sent messages thanking her. Some said her story gave them courage to start again. Mia read those messages carefully and saved a few. She did not see herself as special. She saw herself as proof that effort worked. One morning, Mia drove the RV to the same storage yard where she first saw it. The fence was still broken. The place was quiet. She parked for a moment and stepped out. She stood there, smiling softly. That place had changed her life. As the sun rose, she got back into the RV and drove forward. New roads waited. New people needed help. New challenges would come. Mia was not afraid anymore. The miracle was not that the RV worked. The miracle was that Mia found her strength, built her future, and shared hope with others. And as long as the wheels turned, her journey would continue.